Hello, and welcome to another Steel Division Divisional overview. And today we're taking a look at the 9th Guards Cavalry Corps, the division that have the Cossacks, horses not included, and also some special forces dudes. Yeah, pretty cool, more specialized Soviet infantry division. Yeah, it's a little bit more different compared to regular Soviet infantry divisions, mainly just due to the fact of the infantry selection. There's infantry in this division, if you could tell. Nonetheless, let's jump right into it. So in terms of slots layout, you've got lots of infantry, recon, artillery and airplane, everything else is pretty standard. You're a little bit lackluster in terms of AT capabilities. And let's just jump right into the recon. Recon, you got quite a lovely selection of recon units. You got your two-man squad, pretty standard stuff, but you got some nice transports, you got a few BA-20s, some M3A1 Radevkas, and pretty much all the standard stuff once again. I do want to note with the majority of infantry units that you select for this division, they're gonna default to the CIS-42 transport. So just be careful about that, because this thing is, absolutely pants due to its terrible speed. And you got a amphibious jeep with a Maxim gun on top. It's got two veteran which is cool, but I find that any vehicle unarmed or unarmored vehicle recon usually tends to be pretty pants. It dies way too quickly and you can't really hide him. It is fast, which is cool, but it just means it's going to get to the front line faster and usually get blown up. And, it can go across water. Yeah, I just don't find this thing to be entirely useful. Then we jump to more of the special forces chaps, the OSNASs. There's quite a few of these infantry and recon units available in this division. So first up, we got the Sapirari, or Sapiri versions of these. If you remember the Saboteur FFIs, or FFI Saboteurs in SAS and SD44, this is pretty much the same thing, but high veterancy and some PPSHs instead. They're pretty cool. The TNT charges are fantastic, as they blow up infantry, and all the OSNAS guys come in these fast 4 GPA trucks, or jeeps, or cars, which allows you to get to the front line in lickety-split, essentially, before the Germans doing their Opel Blitzes and Cooper wagons, get into a building, and then yeet some TNT charges at, the incoming German infantry, or whatever they try to rush up. Really good squad, great in forest fights as well, because you can sneak in close with the high stealth and throw TNT charges. Once again, with a lot of the OSNASs, you don't get a lot of Empire cards, just due to the fact of their, special forces nature. And then you got the Sniper Squad, which is a bit of more of the same thing, but with sniper rifle instead of TNT charges. You got Cossack recon units, pretty much like a, Nevatomachiki recon squad, essentially, but without the AT grenades, with lots of PPSHs. Pretty cool, and you can take them in the M3A1 if you want to bring in some armed transport. Honestly, a pretty cool recon squad. And you got T-70 Radevka, pretty cool. It's got APCR cells, so it can hit a little bit above its rate, and you get in decent amount of availability. Valentine Mark III, which is absolutely pants. I don't really know why you'd want to use it. And you got the T-70, which is much faster and a little bit less armored, but also better AP because it has APCR cells. Just ignore the Valentine Mark III. And then a T-34 recon tank. Pretty standard stuff. Infantry isn't so standard as ever, because this is a cavalry division. So there's no Streliki or guard units, no, it's Kozaki instead. And there's 3 main Kozaki infantry units that you're going to be using, and they're going to make the backbone of your infantry force. First up, you got the Kozaki SVT. They're awesome, because semi-automatic rifles in SD2 are pretty potent, so having an entire squad filled with them is, pretty potent. And they're only 15 points. It is extremely cheap, and you get a very good amount of them in terms of availability. Only 1 card, unfortunately, but on B-Phase Unvetted, you can get 24 of these guys. That's a lot of SVTs, and you can't really go wrong with that amount of SVTs. And you got Kozaki PPSHs. You usually like have the Machikis, but you just get less of them. You only got 8 compared to 10. Pretty standard stuff. And then you got regular Kozakis, which are going to be the backbone of your infantry force. They got the same availability loadout compared to guards and Strelki. And yeah, they're pretty much like more of a standard infantry squad. Got 3 PPSHs, which is cool. You got the AT rifle, you got a standard machine gun. Pretty good stuff, honestly. I mean, just having all of these like 25-point dudes with AT rifles, you can't really go wrong. You really can't. Yeah. Main thing I may notice was well, the Kazanki PPSHs and the regular Kazankis, they get a little bit less of the Empire card compared to your Strelki or Automachiki counterparts. So your squads aren't as beefy, but it's only about like 1 or 2 guys usually, so it's not that bad. Then you got the other Osnas troops. Well, the regular Osnas first up. These are like Ranger Marauders in SD44, but they're not recon units unfortunately, so they don't got the recon optics. These are definitely a bit of a weird unit to use, because they take up an infantry slot, but they're not really an infantry, because it's only a 4-man squad. You're really just going to be using them for the bazooka. The bazooka's great, because by God, it's a rocket launcher. Can't really go wrong with a rocket launcher when trying to blow up enemy tanks. And the high veterancy does make these extremely potent when blowing up enemy panzers. But the problem is, it takes up an infantry slot. You don't get a lot of them. They're not that beefy, so they're not great in an infantry fight. A little bit more specialised in that role. And then you got Osnas Cavalry, which is your standard leader squads. You also got Kazaki Cavalries, which are pretty cool. They're pretty beefy, as you got 6 guys, and you got Smoke and SVTs. Honestly, a pretty good leader squad with a very good amount of availability. And apart from that, you got Sapari PPSHs, you got 1 card of regular Sapari, and then Sapari Cavalry. So, yeah, it's honestly a pretty awesome infantry selection. The Kazakis and Osnases are very fun to use, and even though these guys aren't a proper infantry squad, I still recommend taking some of them. Even if you get 4 cards, I don't really ever want to take 4 cards of them, just because that bazooka helps a lot in the close range AT department. In terms of tanks, it's all pretty medium and light armored stuff. You got some Command T-70s, you got 1 card of spammable T-34s, 1943 model 76s. Nice and cheap, you get a lot of them, especially in B phase unvetted, to get 16, that's a good amount. Then you got Valentine Mark 9s. These are definitely much more useful compared to the Mark III, because the 6-pounder gun in SD2 is extremely powerful because it shoots pretty bloody fast, and it has good armor penetration characteristics. The problem is, however, is you're still on a Valentine body. You don't have a machine gun, you do have HE cells, but they're gonna be pretty pants. And you're still slow, and you got alright armor. Nothing, not great, not terrible, it's pretty alright. Valentine Mark 9s are essentially more of a gun platform rather than a tank, as you're gonna be using them pretty much purely on the defensive. You don't want to be running around during charges with these. It's gonna be a very slow charge if you use these guys to push an area. But on a hill or in like some light forest cover where you can sneak up and get a few pot shots with your 6-pounder, these can prove to be pretty potent tanks. And then you got a bunch of Shermans. Yeah, Shermans are always pretty good. Great in the infantry fire support role because they got the 50 caliber machine gun. They got stabilizers, so they're good at close range. But the one problem with Shermans is they're terrible at long range fights, especially against Panzer IVs or really any German tank or a Pak 40 or larger gun. But close range, infantry support, forests, towns, you can't really go wrong with Shermans, and you got a lovely amount of them. The main thing to know of all these tanks is there's no C-phase card tank available. All of it is going to be limited to either A or B phase availability. Just keep that into consideration. Support, you got some, decent options. You got, 2-man flamethrower squads, and you got Cossack Maxim guns. These are pretty good because you get a pretty lovely amount of them. Base 1-star veterancy. And even 2-star veterancy, you get a good amount of them as well, especially its B-phase card. Getting 11 2-star Maxim guns, that's pretty good. They're still only Maxim guns, however, so not the best range, not the most powerful machine gun, but still not that bad. And also, you can get these guys in cheap, so you can rush them up to the front line at the start of the match. Usually a pretty good idea. You got 1 card of support guns. They do easier to run with the heat shell, so you got a little bit of AT capability. And in terms of supply transport, you actually have options to a smaller 4 GPA. This is a pretty good supply unit, mainly due to the fact that, well, you get the same amount, and per card you still get your 20,000 supply in A phase compared to like Studebaker, where you still get the 20,000 supply in A phase. Costs a little bit more to buy that supply because where you have to spend 30 points for 5,000 compared to 40 points for 10,000. But these are pretty good to have, especially with some of the more specialized quote-unquote AT guns later on, because you can spread these out across the map more compared to the Studebakers to supply. Maybe just have one of these, buy an AT gun just to keep resupplying the APCR ammo. I like these guys a lot, even though they're not point per supply. You're not getting as much is what I'm trying to say. And you got your regular infantry command, infantry A1 command, and a BA-20 command. Anti-tank is pretty pathetic. As with a lot of Soviet infantry divisions, they didn't give, or corps, whatever, they didn't really give the infantry a lot of AT guns compared to around ST-44, where the Americans and British infantry divisions had lots of AT guns. Anyway, you got some PTRSs, you got some 45 mils, and then one card of ZIS-2s, and one card of ZIS-3s. Everything only limited to A or B phase availability. So for the PTRSs, you can get them in C phase, so I don't know if I'd ever want to take a C phase PTRS squad. It's a little bit silly at that point, I'd have to say. Honestly, nothing real great in AT. ZIS-2s are pretty much, well, one of the most powerful AT guns that you can get. It is also technically another runner is more powerful, but we'll get to that later. Anti-air is honestly pretty awesome. You got your ZIS-5s, standard stuff, and then you got these ZIS-2s, which is, well, I believe these are French cannons on the back of a truck. And there's 2 of them, so they're pretty cool. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Yeah, and you got your 37mm AA guns, pretty standard stuff, and then one card of your 85mm. You can also use these as an AT gun if you want. Don't really recommend it, but more of your heavy AA capability if you want it. Yeah, I mainly recommend just sticking with these 2 cards as they give you the most bang for your buck. Artillery. You got artillerists and artillery leaders, and I definitely recommend using them because you do have, well, some, or 2 units really that use corrected shot, but it's both worth it for those 2 units. You got your 7.62 field guns, you got 82 and 120mm mortars, if I can say it correctly, and then you got your mortar bikes. Gotta love mortar bikes. Absolutely fun unit to use zipping around a battlefield, mortar and stuff, on a motorbike. You got one card of Su-76s. Pretty alright artillery, pretty standard stuff. You even got a Katusha, which is pretty cool. It's a Katusha, it does Katusha things. I don't find it to be as useful in this division compared to other divisions. I find the Katusha works better in a tank division, for example, where you just want to completely bombard an area and then do a pretty quick tank rush. And with this division, you don't really have the heavier tank play. I don't know, I just haven't really had good use of the Katusha in this division, but you may have. You may find a way to make this work. And also, MLRS in general has been nerfed quite a bit since release, so the Katusha just hasn't really been the king of the battlefield, has it been since release or the beta. But then you got these bloody big boys right here, the A19s. This is an IS-2 gun. Before it wasn't an IS-2, it was an artillery gun. This is pretty damn good artillery, considering this is a more lighter infantry division, as you can tell, with not much in terms of anti-tank or tanks or whatnot. Having some big bloody artillery guns is always, well, it's always pretty nice, I got to admit. And also, because this is an IS-2 gun, it has AP shells. And it's a pretty powerful AP gun. You don't get many AP shells. I wouldn't really recommend using it as a dedicated frontline anti-tank weapon, even though it's pretty tempting because it will kill Tigers and Panthers lickety-split compared to your other AT or tank weaponry that you can get. But it's just, I just never really had that good success using it as a more dedicated AT weapon. It does help having AP cells if your artillery position gets overrun, but that's more of a emergency situation than general use. Apart from that, it's actually a really good artillery piece. It's proper heavy duty stuff, and this is the reason why I'd say using artillerists and artillery leaders is a very good idea of this division, because you can get very good effect using these 122s to knock out, well, precise targets such as AT guns, maybe at one Panther on the hill that's really annoying you, AA weaponry. Pretty good stuff. Heavy artillery is always nice to have, and you get 2 cards for them, so you can get a pretty decent amount. And you get, 2 in B phase, 4 in C phase. Pretty good amount of availability, I got to admit. And then we go into airplanes. It's honestly not that bad. You got a PO2 recon plane, which will probably get shot down immediately. And you got these Lag 3s. These are awesome, because they come at base 2 style veterancy. So they're pretty capable fighters. They got the good agility, which is nice. So they are a bit on the slow side, which is a bit pants. So you can't really outrun stuff or catch up to stuff. But you get into a dogfight or something, you usually do a pretty good job. And it is only 110 points, so it's not that bad. And you got Lag 3 regular rocket bomber, and then the better anti-tank version. This anti-tank plane I find to be pretty important in this division. Even though they're not that great, I don't really tend to find that these things kill Panthers or Tigers reliably, even with side shots. But you still want it because you're a little bit lackluster in terms of AT capabilities in this division. And you got a LA7, which is pretty much the same as a Lag 3, but it's much faster, so it's better at catching up to stuff. And they come with a base 1-star veterancy as well, and you still get a good amount of them in terms of availability, so a pretty nice fighter. And also you got the hero version of it if you got the pre-order pack. And you got TU2 with a bunch of small bombs, LA7s with different bomb loadouts, light and heavy, and then the TU2 with 1 big bomb. Yeah. And then defenses, this infantry division have got pretty good defenses, barbed wire trenches, whatnot, and, PTRD bunkers, bunker maxims, and 45mm bunkers. So that's pretty much all the units in this division, so let's look at a deck that I built earlier. And this is a deck that I built earlier. Once again, the deck code will be in the description below if you want to use it yourself. So let's jump right into it. So in terms of deployment income, really this division has got 2 choices. You're going to pick Vanguard or Maverick, because this is much more of an A-phase, B-phase, Rust division, quote-unquote. Both of these are pretty good to pick. The reason I'm picking Vanguard over Maverick is mainly due to the C-phase income, as it's much more generous. And also how I have this division built, I have the C-phase 122 mils, so with this income I can buy one of these a minute, which is pretty favourable, I got to admit. So, jumping into recon. In terms of A-phase, I take 1 card of Sapperary Osnaz, and then a T-70 recon tank and A-phase card. And then B-phase, I just take some sniper Osnazes. Not a whole lot of recon, I will admit. Even though recon is still pretty important in SDT, I don't find you need a lot of it, as you can just kind of charge infantry into stuff, wait for them to get shot at, and then just shoot back at what's shooting at your infantry. And if you're not throwing these guys to Ray, I find this recon tends to last you most of the match. And they're pretty good recon. The Sapperary and Sniper Squad are pretty sneaky. In terms of infantry, I'm not taking all the infantry slots, I'm leaving the last 2 open. So we're not complete infantry spam, but it's enough infantry. And you may notice there are no C-phase cards, because with this division, I'm building it more towards, or this deck I should say, I'm building it more towards A-phase, B-phase Rust. We're going to win in those first 20 minutes, or we're going to lose. So I'm not really focusing too much on C-phase cards. Nonetheless, we take 1 PPSH squad in A-phase, 1 Cossack squad, and 1 Sapperary squad. And then a Cossack commander. B-phase, we take the SVT spam, we take the PPSHs, we take 1 card of Osnas Bazooka Squatch, and in the end, 1 card of regular Kazaki. We could take another Kazaki squad if you want. Get maybe an extra C phase spam or extra A phase spam. We're not utilising the full Cossack potential, but I find this to be enough infantry for an A phase, B phase. Like rush. You know, we're going to win in the first 20 minutes or we're going to lose. Yeah. In terms of tanks, I'm taking 2 A phase Sherman cards. I like taking A phase Shermans with 2 self-veterancy, as you only lose 2 Shermans. And the 2 self-veterancy makes a huge difference in terms of aim time and just being lethal in CQC. You can run around towns, spot a Panzer IV, and it's pretty much like you have an aimbot on, and the Panzer IV just dies. And then 1 leader Sherman, just for a little bit of extra leader veterancy. And then B phase, we're taking 1 T-34 card, complete spam, and then 1 Sherman card, unvetted for that Sherman spam as well. Support, not a whole lot, taking Ford in A phase, Studebaker in B phase, Kazaki Maxim in A phase and Jeeps, and then a Commander in A phase as well. Also, just want to note all the infantry are coming in Studebakers. You should always double check if this division that you accidentally didn't take any ZIS-42s, because like I said before, when you select an infantry unit, it will automatically go to the ZIS-42 first, and you don't want that, trust me. Anti-tank, I'm taking all the slots, even though it's pretty expensive, taking both of these last 2 slots, but by God, I find that you really do need AT capability in this division, because it's pretty bad. Nonetheless, A phase 2 star 45 mils, and in B phase 45 mils with 2 star veterancy. With the 2 star veterancy, these things are bloody machine guns, and they will just rat-a-tat-a-tat-a enemy tanks. Even though it may not kill a heavier tank, you will do a lot of critical hits, which will annoy it and just keep it out of action for a little bit. 1 card is ZIS-42s, and 1 card is ZIS-3s. Once again, he says sure when I reselected him, he took the ZIS-42s. You don't want that. Once again, make sure he takes Studebakers. And here, not a whole lot. Just A phase card of 37mm and B phase card of 37mm with a ZIS-5 just could transport, because I just like having more 50 cal machine guns. I mean, don't you want a shitty Russian tactical? I want a shitty Russian tactical. These 25mm are good to take, I'm not gonna lie, but you just don't get as many per card. If I was to take another card of AA, I would definitely take one of these, 25mm trucks. But because we're only taking 2, and we just need the most coverage, most bang for your buck in terms of availability, the 37mm are the way to go. Artillery, playing pretty heavy in artillery to be entirely honest. Taking mortar bikes in A phase, and B phase we'll take artillery leaders. Instead of taking infantry leaders, we'll take artillery leaders as well. They're going to allow us to hot stuff, you know, artillery coverage, corrected shot, all of that good stuff. In a 2-star veterancy, I like taking leaders of 2-star veterancy whenever I can, especially infantry, as it increases your aura quite a bit. You know, if you feel like you need more artillery coverage on the map, maybe bump them down to 1-star so you can get 6 of them. Just try not to lose them, as they're very important in making sure your artillery is actually bloody accurate. So we got Su-76s in B phase for spam potential, 122mm in B phase, and then 122mm in C phase as well. I'm not taking any of these in all with the trucks, the resupply transport, just the Matadors, as I don't really find that I use all the supply, for example. I find that these supply trucks usually get me through quite a bit. But if you're finding that you need more, if you're playing those longer matches and you feel like you need more supply, just take some Matadors instead, yeah. Air power, it's pretty simple, the things you want to focus for air power with this division. You want to get the fighters out, because you've got some really good fighters in this division. We take A phase lag and B phase LA7. And then you want to focus on the AT. So B phase lag and then C phase lag AT planes. Yeah, pretty standard stuff. I don't really find any of the high explosive bombers or rocket planes to really be worthwhile. You want to focus more on the AT planes. And heck, these AT quote-unquote lag frees still act as pretty good high explosive bombers, because these are still just HE rockets at the end of the day. So, overall, pros of this division. Well, you got core infantry of the Cossacks and Osnasses. They're pretty good. They're fun to use. Yeah, it's what makes this division pretty special. It's an entire bloody point of the division on those two infantry units. They're fun to use. You got pretty good artillery power as well with the Su-76s and the big 122 mils. You can go toe-to-toe with, your Axis artillery spam, and because those two, the Su-76s and 122s, have radios, you can get lovely corrected shot bonuses and just blow apart the German front line. And then you got good air control. You got good AA units, and you got good airplanes, fighter airplanes. So you can keep the skies clear out of any Messerschmitts and Focke-Wulfs that may try and fly over and dominate your airspace. Now, the con of this division, the big run, the major run, is you have terrible anti-tank weaponry. You don't get any T-34-85s, you don't get much in terms of AT guns. Yes, you could argue you got the 122 mils of the AP, but they should really be used more in terms of last resort. If you're fighting against a heavy panzer division with Panthers and Tigers, you're going to have a hard time. Even at close range, I find, because the Shermans, even though they're cool in close range, they're not going to kill Panthers and Tigers at point blank with that 75mm. Even their side shots, it's really your best where you're going to be dealing with them. Heavy tanks are real bits to deal with this division. It's not fun at all. And also, it's a pretty bad division to play in C phase. As you may notice, a lot of the cards are A and B phase limited, especially when it comes to tank and AT weaponry. So in a long attrition match, you're going to lose, long story short. That's pretty much how it is going to go. And because of that, I would not recommend playing this division in team games, as you have terrible open ground control, because you don't have much in terms of one-range AT, and you have terrible C-phase attrition rates. You don't want to be playing this division in team games at all. In 1v1s, it's very good, because that whole A-phase, B-phase rush works very well in 1v1s. And you got a lot of room to maneuver, and a lot of 1v1 maps aren't completely open. There's a lot of CQC area, forest, town, built up areas where you can run around and get some close range fights, and this is where this division really excels at, more of that close range fighting environment. Overall, it's a pretty alright division. You just gotta really get into that mindset of you gotta win in those first 20 minutes or be on a set path to win before C-phase hits, or you're going to lose. Simple as that. So nonetheless, let's see how the Ninth Guards Cavalry perform in a 1v1. And we are back on the classic Orsa North. And well, on the southern side of this northern map, we got ourselves Metal Phase. He is playing as Ninth Guards Cavalry with Vanguard income. And he is going to be fighting the ISIS Foreign Affairs Department. Remains are still around. Nonetheless, they are playing as the 20th Panzer, also with Vanguard income. So, if we take a look at Metal's 9th Cavalry deck, it's a little bit different. Not taking any recon tanks, for example. His A-phase infantry is very, very ballsy. Taking 2 card of A-phase Osnas is not much in terms of A-phase infantry, so not going to have a lot of frontline A-phase infantry potential, is what I'm trying to get at here. But into B-phase, he's got a lot of infantry spam, and he's got the C-phase Kazanki spam as well. Tanks taking some Valentine Mark 9s, which is definitely an interesting choice, and no T-34s, so going straight American with the Shermans. A little bit more heavier in support, a lot less in terms of AT capability, more heavy in anti-air, less artillery, and pretty similar in terms of air power. It'll opting to take the LA-7 light bombers, which also act as good fighters. Those LA-7 bombers still fight pretty bloody well, instead of the lag-free fighters in A-phase. So still pretty similar stuff, as you see. It's gonna be, he's gonna either win in A or B phase, or he's going to lose. Simple as that. And on this map, it's a very good map for Ninth Guards Cavalry. Mainly due to the fact got a lot of CQC areas, got some towns to fight over, the forests are going to be great fun. And fighting against 20th Panzer is definitely an opponent you do want to go up against as Ninth Guards, They really don't have that much in terms of heavy tanks. They only have one, and that's the Beta IS-2. Once you deal with that, it's really just Panzer IVs, some Panzer IIIs, some Martyrs, which you can easily fight with Shermans and ZIS-2s and all of that good stuff. And you beat them in the infantry department for sure, especially at more close range infantry encounters. But as you see how Metal Phase is deploying, he is going to be going a bit more balls to the wall. He's taking all his Osnasses, so he's going to be taking advantage of the speed of his Jeeps and just trying to get to those advantageous positions before ISIS. Before ISIS does. This is going to be fun. As you see, ISIS's vehicles only go 90 kilometers an hour, while all the Russian stuff, all the Osnasses, you know, the Jeeps and the 4 GPAs all go 105. And that 15 kilometer an hour difference makes, well, pretty huge difference. He's going to be rushing into the forest here instead of going up on the hill. And CQC, you're going to do very well with those Osnas troops. Over here, the Rus didn't go quite as planned. Kind of ran into a bunch of Osttroop in an open ground, and this is the problem with Osnas is, in a straight up firefight, he's going to lose. You know, they are holding their ground pretty well, as you may notice, because you know they're still two-star units at the end of the day. He does have some fire support on the hill, and the Sherman helping out, but that's not going to be enough. And on the right-hand side, he's got some Cossacks over here capping the point. And with support guns, this is a great hill to use all of those support guns on to support your infantry. As you see, his Rus over here definitely did not work. On the left-hand side here, however, he's moving up the Osnasses and Kazakis through. And does he have it? Yeah, he does have regular Osnas troop here with the bazooka, so he can get some cool bazooka shots here on these T-34s. Because of the 2-star veteranry, they can reload pretty fast and they'll get that second follow-up shot off in due time. And also the leader unit bumping up to 3-star is definitely going to help. That's pretty big kills there, knocking out those T-34s. Now he's bringing up those very slow Valentines. I think he got them at the start of the match, and they're already 2.5 minutes in, and they're barely at the front line. That's the problem with the Valentine Mark 9s. These are going to be great gun platforms, because the 2-star veteranry 6-pounders, really scary to go up against, even head-on against the Panzer IV. But it does take forever and a half to get them to where you want them to be. He's got 45 mils here, putting them on corrected, I forgot the name of it, but pretty much ambush shots, so they won't shoot unless they actually have a good chance of actually penetrating said P4, which is always a good idea, especially with more smaller caliber 45 mils. Let the tanks get closer and then start opening up. So even if they start running away, you can get some good critical hits. The best critical hit you could probably get is tracks damaged or tracks destroyed, as you can make the tank sit and duck and just deal with it in some other way. You see the 45 mils they open up on the P4s, and they're going to make short work of them. Like I said, 20 Panzer, pretty good opponent to go up against, because these P4s are pretty easy to deal with. Only 75, 65mm armor on average. So the 45 mils can actually deal with them, and the Shermans as well, if Shermans get a little bit closer. Left-hand side here did use the LA-74 bombing run. It's bringing in the Kazakis, and up close the Kazakis are going to beat out the PZ Grens. They do have more SMG capability. Yeah, Metal Phase, he does have the momentum, I'd have to say. Only has a 1 flag advantage over ISIS so far, but you know, he's putting on the pressure, he's using his infantry pretty well. You know, the problem is that he doesn't have a lot of proper frontline fighting infantry in A-Phase. So he can't really be affording to just throw them away and losing them. And he has lost quite a lot of Osnasses so far. And even though the Osnas Sappery and Sniperies are pretty cool, they don't protect front lines, so that's gonna hurt him. Like over here, these Sapperies, I mean, it's probably good that they don't protect front line, as you can sneak him around and get the TNT charges off. But you kind of need to protect front line to capture flags. Over here, the Kazanki's Rod kind of ran into Stosstrupen. And Stosstrupen, they went to the Russian school of CQC fighting and brought some Molotovs. And that's no fun to fight. Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, now things are definitely slowed down a bit for Metal. He's not really making any offensive plays, and ISIS, he's going to be following up by, well, he's playing Trinity Panzer. He's going to be getting a lot of those Panzers. But he keeps running them into these AT gun positions, and, well, the P4s are going to die. And Trinity Panzer is also late 9th Guards, where they're either going to win an A or B phase, or they're going to lose as well, as they don't have a lot of C phase cards available to them. The Valentine Mark 9 here, as you see, just gets first shot, gun jammed, and they can just get the second shot, and then the third shot, lickety split. Just look at, yeah, absolute machine gun of an AT gun. In 12 rounds a minute, I think of like 2-star vet. Probably more like 15 to 16 rounds a minute. Which again, it's getting some fantastic kill on these P4s. And with Trinity of Panzer, you're going to run out of P4s eventually. You don't have an unlimited supply of them. I think no one has an unlimited supply of Panzer IVs, to be entirely honest. If Germany did, they might have won the war. But knocking out all the armor is definitely going to make his life easier, because once Trinity of Panzer's armor's gone, the infantry's pretty easy to deal with. He's got the LA7 here trying to fight his Messerschmitt, but it's not going to have a good time. The Messerschmitt does have 2-star veterancy, and that's probably going to be a dead LA7. Yeah. Even though the LA7 could probably, I think he can outrun. Yeah, he can outrun the Messerschmitt 109. Like 25 kilometers an hour fast. I don't think that bomber run was. It's a little bit slower compared to the regular fighter regular fighter LA7, but still, you know, pretty fast, pretty damn fast. He's got these 82mm mortars back here. Gonna be trying to hit the Osttruppen. And yeah, really, as you can tell, Metal Phase can't really do any more pushes anywhere because he just lacks the infantry. There's some Kazakis over here, but he hasn't brought them up here. But on the right-hand side, I mean, he's got infantry, but they've been completely overrun by the Germans just moving through the forest. It's really going to have to come down to a B phase where Metal Phase can, well, put the pedal to the metal and start bringing in all that infantry spam that you desperately need. It's getting counter-batteried here. I mean, ISIS does have the artillery advantage. Mortar half-tracks are so bloody deadly to deal with. They got the corrected shot bonus, they're mobile, and they're armoured. Real heavy trifecta to deal with. He's fighting long range against the Osttruppen here. Not going to be great. It does have veterancy advantage actually, but the Osttruppen here, they have the high ground. And you all know you're in when you have the high ground. Their right side over here is just collapsing a little bit for Metal, but it's only 30 seconds left till B phase. 30 seconds left. And that's when you should be able to start pushing back. And you can get some AA over here as well. Probably a good idea, considering that Messerschmitt's flying around. And see the Kazaki with PTRDs. You can deal with half-tracks pretty easily, bringing up the Osnaz to finish them off. And yeah, great ambush position overall here of the Kazaki. He's going to be shooting these Stern Pioneers as they come across. Unfortunately, is he going to snipe a vehicle before an infantry unloads? Doesn't seem to be the case. Osttruppen and Stern Pioneers are going to be a bit of a hard thing to deal with. But now as you see B phase hits, boom, behind the infantry again. Kazaki SVTs and PPSHs all over the place. And those SVT squads are really not to be trifled with. I mean, think about it. For 30 points, you can get 20 semi-automatic rifles. That's a lot of semi-automatic rifles. Semi-autos are probably the second best infantry weapon to take behind Sturmgewehrs. I mean, you're Russian, you're not going to get Sturmgewehrs at all. But SVTs are still pretty decent. This Panzerstrike squad here is going to sneak up on the Amcha. And that's going to be a pretty good kill out for ISIS. And that's going to save his Osttruppen Panzer Grenadiers here. until our Kazaki SVT can come up and save the day. ISIS doing the big tank push on the right hand middle here. But once again, he's going to run into his 45 mils. If this was a heavier Panzer division, he probably wouldn't be having this much success using these small AT guns. But thankfully, just because it's Panzer 4s and 3s, he can kill them in a rather easy fashion. He's getting some of those Su-76s out. Let's see the Kazaki SVTs on the left hand side. They're going to be doing much better against Yoss Troopen. That's going to clear them out. Same thing against the Panda Grenadiers. With Valentine helping out as well. That's going to be a pin down Peasy Gren. And he can rush in and get the surrender. And that's going to open up the left hand side for him completely. If you can capture the Alpha flag here, it'll be 14-10. They're right now still trove because ISIS is really putting on the press on the right hand side. I believe that is a, what's it called? There's a rocket artillery. That was rocket artillery. Yeah, it's a rough ramming, yeah. A little bit blind, yeah. And we also got some 105s in the back here as well. Yeah. Metal phase, you know, we've got B phase Sherman spam. So you can definitely hit back in terms of tank capability against 20th now. We have those 20 B phase Shermans available to him. It's just trying to counter, or I say counter batteries, but it's actually smoking that Panzer 4G as so he can move up his Shermans. More of a safe environment. He is getting counter batteried by the mortar half tracks, and mortar half tracks beat out regular mortars. But see, now as he's got more infantry available, he's just putting on all of that pressure. The heavy artillery for 105s are definitely going to beat out Metal Phase's 9th Guards artillery capabilities. But now at least, I mean, he does have Su-76s. Even though they're not as great in terms of counter battery potential compared to the 105s, just due to the caliber difference. You know, Su-76s can get a little bit closer due to their mobile nature. A bit more of an accurate shot. Yeah, not really too much to say here, frankly. It's just beating them out in the infantry game, and that's what you gotta do with 9th Guards. Gotta get infantry spam out. As he moves these SVTs to the right hand side here, he's probably gonna try to flank through his forest and capture the hill over here. Definitely smart move. As in CQC, those SVTs are pretty decent. On the left hand side, he's completely captured his crossroads here. And with all the Kazakis, that's going to be a real pain in the arse to dig out. You know, he probably want to get some AT over here to help clear things up. Getting the SVT squad to clear up the hill on the left. And bringing up a Sherman, which is definitely going to be a good idea. As you can see, even with just regular infantry, the PTRDs knocks out the half tracks. And that's a nice thing about Russian infantry divisions that have those PTRD infantries. Is that if you're fighting against a German Panzer division, you pretty much make those half tracks useless, as you can just easily snipe them. With 500 meter range of AT rifles, you can get some pretty surprising kills. Heck, even against tanks. Even though the PTRD is a pretty slow firing AT rifle, because it is only a single shot. You know, a single shot at a time. You can still do some pretty good damage getting those critical hits. Especially if you're meant to get side shots. And that's pretty easy to do with infantry because you can sneak them around. See, lag 3 knocked out the half track. Messerschmitt 410, not the best dogfighter. Pretty scary when it gets behind you, but the LA7 will easily be able to outmaneuver it. And that should be a dead 410. There we go. Yeah, this one, the bomber run is actually quite a bit slower compared to the fighter module. Same module, but the fighter version, it's like 45 kilometers an hour slower, which is a pretty big deal. It does make it so that Messerschmitt is faster than you. Yeah, it's not a huge point advantage that Metal Phase is ridden by, but considering both of these divisions are suffering the same attrition penalties, usually at A Phase, B Phase nature, you can afford to just win by that slow +1 point advantage. And already, he has killed a lot of 20th Panzers, well, Panzers, so they're probably hurting quite a bit in that department. And Metal Phase, he still has a lot of Sherman potential available to him. In the more close range areas, especially on the flanks, those Shermans are going to be deadly. I mean, you've got a Flak 88 here, but he's not going to prove all that useful as the infantry getting close. Got the Marder over here as well. Yeah, as you can really tell, Ninth Guards, we're really just trying to win with those infantry engagements. That's really the main thing you got going for you. Winning CQC. He's also got the good air power, as you can see, bringing out a lot of airplanes now. Going for the mortar half tracks, knocks out both of them. Fantastic kills. Really good use of Lag 3 there. And now he's going to try and bait over the Messerschmitt over the AA. Doesn't work out. The LA7 is trying to chase. One of the lags does go down, but honestly knocking out the mortar half tracks was definitely a worthwhile kill. And there goes this Messerschmitt. 25mm AAPs can be pretty deadly, as you can tell. Yeah, he's really got the momentum now. Pretty much captured the majority of left-hand side. He's got the, well, technically had the town under his control, but he's going to lose that once these pioneers come in to help clear things up. Let's clear the right-hand flank. As you can see, mainly pushing on the flanks of this map, just due to the fact that, you know, more closer quarters. You don't really want to push in the middle of this map with Ninth Guards, as once again, you do not do well in open ground engagements with Ninth Guards. I'm trying to stay clear of that. Messerschmitt 410, he's probably going to die due to AA fight, or maybe not actually. Yeah, the LA7 bugs out. Oh, he's going to fly right over AA? Yes, he is. For a little bit. But even though we're pretty, you know, 5 minutes into C phase now, he has managed to win the attrition roar. As you can clearly tell by the amount of units on the map that he has compared to ISIS. And now he's just really pushing into it. And that's pretty much just going to be a GG to Metal Phase. Metal Phase. ISIS does surrender and becomes has. And you see in terms of KD, not too big in terms of difference. Only a, trying to do the math here real fast, like 700, 800 kill difference. Nothing too crazy. In terms of chronology, as you can see, that rush didn't work as expected on the right hand flank. Took some heavy casualties here. But apart from that, you know, as you see, once again, late A phase does take some pretty heavy casualties, but you know, it's pretty back and forth until well, this mark here, where the Osttroopen just get completely annihilated. And the rest of the match, a lot of those German tanks are dying. And once you knock out the Panzers of 20th Panzer, well, you're just 20th, and just being 20th by yourself kind of sucks. But as you can see, Sherman here, absolutely deadly. Real good Panzer IV killer, as you can tell. Stabilizers Stabilizers make a big difference. Same with the Valentine on left-hand flank as well. See infantry pulling out some pretty good kills. In terms of losses, Struppen, nothing really too crazy. Panzer IV actually knocked down quite a few bits, yeah, probably at long range. But yeah, that's 9th Guards Cavalry. It's more of your knife fighting Soviet infantry division. You want to get in close. You want to sneak around. You want to use your Osnasses to throw TNT and shoot bazookas at T-34s and Panzer IVs and all that good stuff. It's a pretty good division. It's a lot of fun to play. It's one of my personal favourites to play Soviets in 1v1s, just due to the whole manoeuvring warfare that you kind of do with it with infantry, sneaking around with Osnasses and whatnot. But don't play it in team games, and try to avoid playing them in open field maps, as you're not going to have a good time due to the terrible AT capability. In some divisions, it's like 20th Panzer, as you saw, good. If you're fighting against a German division that doesn't have the heavy tanks, it's usually it's a very good idea to take 9th Guard. But if you're fighting against like 5th Panzer, for example, any of the SD-44 Panzer divisions, it's going to be a bit harder, just due to the fact that even 1 or 2 Tigers or Panthers, or God forbid a King Tiger, can really stunt your progress, especially if they hold over an open ground area, as you just will not be able to push an open ground area if there's such a heavy tank nearby, unless you get a bit ballsy and maybe decide to use those Ren 22mm as anti-tank guns. But round 1, I'm going to leave it off at that. This has been another Rouge Steel Division Divisional overview. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as usual, please just take it easy.